I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and thanks to all of our candidates for running for office. We ask that you hold your applause until the end of the evening. Our candidates are, for mayor, Brandon Stanger and Marie Doherty. On your ballot, you will vote for one. For city council, Jennifer Steele Christensen, who is being represented up on the dais by Genevieve Miller, Adam Larson, Zachary Hack, and Chris Danson. On your ballot, you will vote for two. They are seated in the order in which they will appear on the ballot. The way the panel works is that each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, after which we will proceed to a series of timed questions, and then we'll give the candidates 1 minute for their conclusion. We will rotate through the panel so that each candidate will have at least one chance to answer a question first. Candidates should answer the questions from the point of view of the office they're running for, whether it's city council or mayor. And candidates, if at any time you need me to repeat a question, please let me know. Volunteers have collected written questions from the audience on index cards, and we are working to incorporate a few of them into our Q&A tool. Our timer is 5 from the Clinton Youth Council with assistance from David Airbright. That will give candidates a 1 minute, 30-second, and 15-second warning. The panel we expect will last about an hour and 15 minutes. Again, we ask the audience to hold their applause until the end. So we'll get started now, and we'll begin with Brandon. First question. This is a 2-minute response. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself. Please tell us why you were running for office, what relevant skills and experience do you have that will help you do your job, and what are your top 2 priorities?
Well, thank you all for coming tonight. It's great to look out and see all these active participants in the election process. So thank you again for being here. For those that haven't met me personally, I'm Mayor Brandon Stanger. I've been the mayor here in Clinton for the past 4 years, and it's an incredible honor to be serving you and to hopefully earn your trust for another 4 years. I'm running for office because, one, it's not that I love politics, but it's because I love Clinton. I also love helping people. And third, I love solving problems. I'm an Eagle Scout, so just like they say in Scouts, it's best to leave things better than when you found them, and that's my goal for Clinton. I want to leave it in better hands than when I inherited it. As far as skills and experience, one, I've already been your mayor for the last 4 years. I get business and finance. I've been a small business owner for decades and also spent years as a financial advisor. One of my talents is spotting talent. If you're not aware, we've done a lot for the city, bringing in a new city manager, a fire chief, a assistant fire chief, a code enforcement officer, and even a finance director. Those have all been things that I've been happy to be involved in and making sure I'm putting the right people in the chairs for you guys. With that, I want to make sure they always have the tools and the resources they need, and then to step back, let them do their jobs and not micromanage them. As far as priorities go, my top priority is to make Clinton the safest, cleanest, and friendliest city out there. I'm proud of what we've accomplished and built together. Please, let's keep delivering wins for Clinton. Thank you.
Thank you. Marie?
So the day I cleaned the sewers of Clinton, I knew I had arrived. In 5 years now on the city council, I've really dug in. Right along with the police, fire, the snow plows. I have truly paid the price to know the ins and outs of this city. And it's in my blood to do that. My background in journalism drives me to ask a million questions and to study issues from every angle. That's why I've written hundreds of clear, detailed social media posts. I believe the public has a right to know everything about their government. My degree in political science drives me to analyze the proper role of government, with an eye toward principles of constitution and law. So that's why I was the driving force to help bring Connect Fiber to Clinton. to let the private sector do what it does best, and instead of burdening taxpayers with another government system. So for 5 years, I've collaborated to produce wins for Clinton. My opponent's wins are usually my wins too, increasing our police force, code enforcement, business development. So how am I different? I'm the candidate who has been working to protect Clinton's look and feel. I voted for fewer townhomes and more small single lots to support the housing shortage. I'm the candidate who has said no to a policy of ongoing annual property tax increases. Again and again, I've been the one asking for more careful processes, earlier preparation of documents, no more last minute, better public involvement, and more strategic planning. I've lived in Clinton for 22 years, and it's where I plan to stay. I'm running for mayor so I can protect it. So my 2 top priorities: protecting our character as we grow, and protecting the people's voice by fixing our processes.
Thank you. Genevieve, on behalf of Jennifer, or Jennifer, if you want to.
We'll just do, I'm gonna do the first one.
Sorry. She just had hip surgery yesterday, and so.
Yeah. Oh, I can. Sorry, I'm not very steady. Good evening, my name is Jennifer Christensen, and I am running for Clinton City Council because I love Clinton City and I want to serve our community. When my 5 children and I moved to Clinton in 2017, I knew we had come home. I am a social worker by trade, and as a therapist, I listen for a living. I work to help people address their challenges, feel empowered, and thrive. I am an advocate and a problem solver, and I understand how both government works and how it doesn't. I have experience serving communities on local, state, and national levels. Along with my Master of Social Work degree, I have an undergraduate degree in political science. My top priority as a city council member is to build bridges. I recognize that the recent division in our community has led to frustration and distrust, and I'm committed to bridging existing communication gaps. My second priority is to support ongoing efforts to update our city's general plan with responsibility and vision to protect our heritage, strengthen our community, and create a vibrant future. I had hip surgery yesterday and I won't have a lot of stamina tonight. I want to thank Genevieve Miller, my close friend and fellow member of the Planning Commission, for representing me for the remainder of the evening. And thank you also to Becca Isaacson for her support tonight. Please reach out if you would like to discuss my campaign. I'd love to speak with you personally about how I can best represent you on the Clinton City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam?
Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Larson. The reason I'm running for city council is because I like to help people. I've spent the last year helping people who couldn't help themselves. As I got involved in the referendum process last year, I was able to speak to more than 400 residents who signed our petition, and they expressed concern about the direction of the city, not necessarily specific concerns about decisions that were being made, but a lack of understanding of why decisions were being made. I felt like the public's input had taken a back seat in the deliberations and the decisions of the city council. And so of those citizens I spoke with, as well as others who were involved in the process, they encouraged me to run for office. I've been in Clinton for 30 years, and I've never had an interest in being a city official. But I decided that now that the kids are grown, it's time for me to give back to a city that I love. My career has been in customer experience management. There's 2 parts of customer experience: support and the experience itself. Support is a reactive function where customers who have challenges with the product they have, or in this case, citizens who have challenges with their neighborhood or with the public works or whatever it might be. Part of the the job of the city council is to fix those issues, to respond quickly and effectively to solve problems. And the other part is the experience overall, and that's the proactive part. So understanding where the friction points are for our residents and understanding how we can proactively make a better experience for them in the city of Clinton. I love this city. I plan to be here. I just built my home 6 years ago that I plan to die in. So I'm here for the long haul and looking forward to giving back. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach?
Perfect, thank you. My name is Zachary Hatch, running for the Clinton City Council here. We've lived here about 13 years, and we came from Hooper before that. We lived in Hooper for about 8 years before, and came. I'm running because my kids have gotten to an age as well where I can do that and give back. I give back with them as far as coaching and things like that, but I wanted to make sure that I can give back to our community where we live. I spent nearly 20 years as a firefighter paramedic for West Valley City. I had a line of duty injury that forced me to retire a little bit early, but I've been involved in politics for about 25 years, just kind of from the opposite end. I was a trade union labor president and worked through the city up into the county and at our state capitol with all of that. So I wanted to get to, I also run a business in Layton. I do sports performance training for youth. My two top priorities are pretty simple, but they're important. First, I want to strengthen our infrastructure and public safety to keep up with the growth, ensuring that our police, fire, and public works have the support they need. Secondly, I want to preserve Clinton's sense of community by promoting responsible development, supporting our parks and recreation, and maintaining open communication with you residents. I believe leadership means listening and being transparent with you, and always putting people before politics. Like I said, I'm not a politician, and I'm pretty vocal when things are not right. But I know that there's a process to work through that to get to our common goals. And so that's it. I appreciate it. And thank you.
Thank you. Chris?
Perfect. So my name's Chris Danson, and I've been in Clinton for 11 years. That's what I'm running for city council, just because I've noticed some things throughout the years that it seems that the city has pretty much done their legal obligation when it comes to communicating with residents. And that's what I am, a communicator. That's my biggest thing. That's my strength. That's what I recently graduated with my Master's of Arts in Professional Communication. I've worked the past 7 years as a marketer for Family Search. So again, all about communication. Another point that I like to dig into is always in the finance realm. So while I was going for my undergraduate, I actually worked for insurance companies, mortgage companies, banks, and doing all of the compliance work. So I understand and know how to read financial documents and how to do all of those type of things. And that's part of my reason for running as well, is going through and trying to figure out, why the city's budget is the way it is, what's happening with that, and really dig into the weeds there. And so pretty much that's who I am in a nutshell. I've been here for 11 years, like I said, but I plan on being here for a lot longer as we continue to raise our kids and start to have some grandkids as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is also a 2-minute response question, and it's about the city budget. How should Clinton plan and manage the budget, including taxes or fees, so as to be able to afford to hire needed employees? Will federal funding uncertainties affect Clinton? And we'll start with Marie.
Well, so our main frustration with Congress is that they keep failing to pass a real budget, so we can find out if our future grants are approved. But let's talk about local budgets. So every week, I meet Clinton residents who are struggling to make ends meet. I met an 80-year-old man on Social Security who said, "When I pay my taxes every November, it takes every cent I have." So balancing the needs of the city's employees and our services with the needs of taxpayers is one of the most difficult things we do. Here's where I stand. I think we should only raise property taxes when necessary and only by the amount necessary to balance the budget. And what's necessary should be decided through transparent, strategic planning that includes public input very early in the process. There's nothing worse than holding a tax hearing at the end of the process when there's not much we can do and the public feels their voice is completely dismissed. As mayor, I would involve the public much earlier. We can choose to go above and beyond the state requirements. It's in the public's interest to hire and retain strong employees. We've had wage wars and poaching among cities with our employees, and the public needs to be in on that discussion. So a difference between me and my opponent is that he has repeatedly advocated for a policy of ongoing yearly single-digit property tax increases. He said we should have been doing that for the past 20 years. I say that would have ballooned our budget beyond what's necessary, and it would not have prevented larger tax increases in the years that big changes were needed. As a fiscal conservative, I agree with the Utah Taxpayers Association, which says, we believe this practice is inappropriate and essentially slow boils the taxpayers to death. So I'm not trying to claim that if I'm the mayor that we won't have any tax increases. That's impossible. But I am saying that a tax increase so should tax increase shouldn't be considered.
Well, thank you for getting us in a different spirit here. Okay, so next we'll go to Genevieve on behalf of Jennifer.
Alright. Jennifer believes that Clinton City should plan and manage the budget proactively with a long-term vision. The past 2 years have been pivotal for our city financially, but there is still work to do. Under the expert guidance of our city manager, our city administration has been revamped to address critical human resource needs. Great strides are being made to improve efficiency by updating software, equipment, and procedures. Although Clinton City has historically operated with a balanced budget, we faced a shortfall because our revenue has not kept pace with inflation. Also, past decisions have been made without attention to long-term planning. Clinton City needs additional revenue to hire and retain employees, maintain robust emergency services, and address infrastructural needs, capital improvements, and public services. Federal funding uncertainties create local funding uncertainties, and we will likely lose to access to some federal grants, federal support for public programs, and federal funding for local infrastructure projects. Further, loss of federal dollars impacts state budgets, and tightened state budgets shift costs to local governments. To address these concerns, Clinton City needs to attract commercial development that expands our sales tax base. In addition, property tax rates must be evaluated and adjusted regularly. No one likes taxes, but we all rely on government services. Carefully planned incremental increases make more sense than panic-driven double-digit hikes.
Thank you. Adam?
Thank you. So in my job, I have responsibility for over $100 million budget each year. And so in the private sector, when you run out of money or you're not turning a profit, you have to find ways to be more efficient in what you're doing. And that, I believe, is a major responsibility of the city council, is to find efficient ways to run the city such that we can avoid levying the cost to the taxpayers as best as possible. The budget should be primarily used for emergency services and those things that are needed, like roads and infrastructure. Anything else that we spend money on should be towards things that deliver or help us achieve a long-term vision. Without a long-term vision about what we want for Clinton City, then each decision is made in a vacuum, and it doesn't further our progress towards a vision or an ultimate goal. Temporary problems should not be solved with permanent tax increases. I think it's better that we take temporary problems and solve those through something like a fee where we have the opportunity to adjust that more easily down the road. Because I don't know about you, but I have never been involved in a property tax decrease as far as from a percentage standpoint, and I don't see that happening here. I think it's important that we always educate the public on what we're going to use the monies for, and it needs to be specific. I think we see a good example of that in the rat tax. When we were able to tell our citizens what their money would go towards, there was overwhelming support for such a tax. But when we just say we need it to pay our people more, or we need it to cover IT upgrades, that's too general, and our public deserves to know more specificity on those. Thank you.
Thank you. Zachary?
Yeah, thank you. When it comes to Clinton's budget, my approach is rooted in responsibility and transparency. We need to make sure that every tax dollar is used efficiently and in a way that directly benefits our residents. That means prioritizing core services. Kind of like Adam said, police, fire, public works, and infrastructure before we expand into new areas. Clinton is growing, and with that growth comes the need to hire and retain quality employees. I believe the best way to afford that isn't simply by raising taxes, it's by managing our budget strategically. We should regularly review spending, look for efficiencies, and ensure that new development contributes fairly to the cost of the services it requires. Responsible growth should help pay for itself, not burden existing taxpayers. When it comes to federal or state funding, we can't build our city's future around uncertainty. Grants and federal programs can be helpful, but our city's financial stability should never depend completely on them. We need a balanced, conservative budget that keeps Clinton on solid ground, regardless of what happens at the federal level. In short, I believe in living within our means, planning ahead, and making sure our budget reflects the priorities and values of our residents. Safety, infrastructure, and community quality of life. That's how we keep Clinton financially healthy and prepared for the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Chris?
Awesome. And like I mentioned before, when I was looking through the city's budget, and I went all the way back to 2011, looking at the budget, creating charts, looking at all that stuff. I also compared it to the auditor's report. And it looks like the auditor is saying that the city is actually doing pretty well, that the revenue is doing decent and expenses are below that revenue. So that's where it's hard to kind of justify raising taxes when it's like, well, our budget shows that we have a revenue shortfall, but then the auditor showing actually your revenue is just fine, your expenses are just fine. So my biggest thing about taxes and the budget is actually trying to dig in a little bit deeper, trying to figure out why there's this discrepancy between those things. And it may just be a simple thing as far as we just need to get new auditors, we need to do something else with it. But I think that by the city council digging in and understanding what they're looking at, and not just from like, oh, this is what we did prior year, we're looking at this upcoming year, but we actually need to look at and see the trends that are happening from previous years, all the way into potentially even projecting how things will look into the future. In the finance industry, this is like common practice. And so why can the city not do something similar? Something else that I like from the finance industry that I think would be beneficial for residents is making finances sound easier. And one of the things that I know in the insurance world that they actually show a dollar bill and they say for every dollar that we bring in, how much are we spending on operations, on claims and other things? It would be nice to have that. I think, and I believe that the city used to do that, at least on one of the budgets that I looked at, they showed a dollar. And in that dollar, they showed what expenses were happening. It'd be nice if we could bring that back so that way residents could actually see that and understand what's happening in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon?
Good news, Chris, I've got that, I'll email it to you. Unfortunately, our predecessor didn't plant any money trees in Clinton. It would sure be nice to be able to go pluck some bills off of that anytime we need it. But since that isn't the case, it's very important that we take a hard look at how inflation erodes our ability to operate the city each and every year. I think most people in here have that basic understanding that every year inflation goes up. The reason why property taxes don't go down is because inflation doesn't go down. If inflation were to go down, it'd be very easy to have savings that we could then pass back into taxpayers. But as you know, and I know, year in, year out, inflation is a real thing, and we need to account for that. That is why, time and time again, I've said, guys, please, let's have single-digit increases that adjust for inflation. The council last year voted for a 32% tax increase. There was only one council member that said no to that. That's 10% or 15%, depending on how you want to look at that over the last 2 or 3 years. I said then that I didn't agree, and I will still say that it's really disappointing that we have these huge tax increases every other year when it's not an election year, but then people want to say, oh, no, we're not gonna increase taxes because it's an election. For me, I'm gonna tell you how it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's one of those that I try to be an honest politician. I guarantee you, your taxes will continue to go up over time. That's business, that's economics. I'm sorry that we can't always take all of the growth. So, sorry. Sorry that we can't just take all of the growth to fund operations, but we do need to plan better for the future, and that's what we've been doing in Clinton. So let's keep up the hard work.
Technology is always fun. And the next question is a 2-minute response, and in response to some comments from the audience on the index cards, I'm gonna add just a little bit to this question. And we will be starting with Genevieve on behalf of Jennifer. The legislature has mandated that all cities develop a plan to increase affordable housing. What ideas do you have for increasing affordable housing and satisfying the state mandate? And in particular, could you talk about your position on high density housing?
All right, so as with our budget, Jennifer will address the challenges of affordable housing in Clinton proactively. While she does not support high density housing in our city, she recognizes that we need more options. And supports using townhouses as a buffer between our commercial zones and our traditional residential neighborhood. She supports small lot, single family homes, both as starter homes and retirement homes. It is important to understand that Utah Senate Bill 181 defines affordable housing as housing priced at 80% of the county median home price. According to Realtor.com and Zillow, the median home price in Davis County is about $547,900. 80% of that is $438,320. Jennifer is experiencing the same sticker shock as everyone else who wants to buy a home in Clinton. Unfortunately, prices are driven by the market. Clinton City can support the state's efforts to promote affordable housing by accepting proposals from developers who agree to build homes under House Bill 572, which provides state funding for starter homes. We can also comply with Senate Bill 181, which allows for starter homes without garages. To protect the hometown feel of our community, Jennifer supports the existing ordinance that limits building heights to 35 feet. She supports master planned communities that are accessible, attractive, and livable. And she appreciates occupancy guidelines that encourage and preserve home ownership.
Thank you. Adam?
I want to thank Jennifer for bringing up the cost of the homes. I think that sometimes can be a misnomer, that what the state is calling affordable housing for many of our children and for those who are in need of housing is still out of the range of those people. So this is not a problem that's going to be solved by building more and more and more houses that cost between $400,000 and $500,000. So I am not one who believes that this is a supply and demand problem, in that we need to address the demand. I believe the supply is the area where we need to address it with home buyer incentives, with incentives for builders. And I do think that there is place in Clinton for multifamily homes. Although I believe that the density needs to be much smaller than our current multifamily zoning ordinance allows. I think it's clear through the referendum process that anything above 8%, or excuse me, 8 units per acre is more than our public wants, and really they would prefer something less than 6. So I think we need to revisit the zoning to allow for that. I actually agree with the 5 areas that the city has chosen as their points of emphasis to be compliant with the state. But what I thought was interesting is that one of the requirements is that 10% of new developments involve multifamily or attainable housing. The 3 townhome developments that have been approved by the current council have between 60 and 70% townhomes versus a 10% requirement by the state. So this idea that we are being forced by the state to put these developments in is only partially true. We have exceeded their expectations, and I believe the Clinton residents have said that that's not what they want.
Thank you. Zachary?
Yeah, so the state mandate on affordable housing is something every city, including Clinton, has to address, but we must do it in a way that fits our community character and long-term plan. I believe we can meet those requirements responsibly without losing what makes Clinton special. First, affordable housing doesn't have to mean large apartment complexes or high-density developments in every neighborhood. It can include thoughtful options like townhomes, smaller single-family lots, accessory dwelling units potentially that blend naturally and into existing areas. The goal should be to provide attainable housing for young families, seniors, and essential workers, people who want to live here and contribute to our community. Second, we need to work closely with developers to ensure that the new projects include quality design, infrastructure improvements, and don't overburden our schools, roads, and utilities. Growth has to be balanced and supported by proper planning. Lastly, Clinton should maintain strong communication with state leaders to make sure we have flexibility in how we meet these mandates. Local government know their community best, and we should be trusted to find local solutions that make sense on our residents. In short, I support responsible, well-planned growth that keeps housing attainable for families without compromising the safety, values, and quality of life that make Clinton such a great place to live. The three items that we need to look at is going to be House Bill 465, which is the housing affordability revisions of 2024, which was to aim to streamline processes and encourage the development of affordable housing units across municipalities in Utah. We mentioned Senate Bill 181, the Housing Affordability Amendment, and then the last one's going to be House Bill 37, the Affordable Housing Density Requirement. This seeks to amend existing housing regulations to promote affordable housing, and then the governor's office of planning and budget to create a housing plan that should be available by December 31st for this year.
Thank you. Chris?
Awesome. Well, that's what, as far as the state's mandate with everything is, pretty much, I have to agree with most what everyone else here has said, is that, first off, I don't agree with, mandates from the state or even from the federal government telling us what to do, but when you look at the mandate, pretty much Clinton has already met those requirements in the ordinances. We already see that we have mid-density homes, we have low-density homes, they even have stuff for high density. But they have it within a way that pretty much promotes how Clinton is currently. I'm in favor of single-family homes, making sure that they're starter homes, enjoying also the retirees, having those patio homes as well. The hard thing about when I've talked to people about, doing those type of homes as well as, potentially even townhomes or other things. Most people in the city, when they talk to me, they say it's not so much that there's homes and, we're building them and doing all these things. It's actually the economy itself. That's what people are in homes right now, like my home, I can afford right now if I was looking for a home. There is a huge sticker shock happening. And if we want to keep our community the way that we want it, we're gonna have to look at these housing projects and actually look into how we have our ordinances and zonings set up. And if we plan smartly, as has been mentioned before, that's what we should be able to find some way of helping people get through this time, being able to understand and know about the state's mandate that currently we've already met. So, in high density homes, I'm not in favor of high density.
Thank you. Brandon?
Well, luckily we have Representative Karen Peterson here to listen in and hear all of our good feedback and suggestions. So reminder, state, keep your hands off our zoning. As far as mandates go, the thing we need to remember is, yes, we have to have a moderate income housing plan. Clinton has made sure we've been compliant with that. We've made sure and made upgrades to that, and we've made sure and actually done those things. It's pretty cool thinking that in the last 4 years, there is now a townhome in Clinton. That hasn't happened in 20+ years. That gives our heroes an opportunity to have a place to call home. 25% of our police officers that serve in our city live in a townhome. I believe that our heroes should also be welcome in our community and have a place to call their own. Luckily, the legislature hasn't taken away our zoning completely. I think there's little attempts at that. Luckily, they've been defeated, but we need to continue to plan strategically, and that's exactly what we've done in Clinton. You're not having a townhome or a small lot single family development move into your backyard. It's been strategically placed only along our commercial corridor and next to where the West Davis corridor is gonna be. So again, it's very thoughtful. It's been studied and planned to make sure that those are put exactly where we think it's gonna be best suited to not impact the community and the field. Lastly, we've made some great changes. As mayor, we've updated and now allow our external ADUs to be built in Clinton. Existing and future workshops can be dual purpose. We do have small lot, single family homes as part of our option. And for somebody that does want a townhome, that is also now available. Thank you.
Thank you. Marie?
I'm part of the Legislative Policy Committee for the League of Cities, and so I'm always pushing back on the legislature, but we do know some of the legislature. All right, so the legislature does mandate that we file a plan, but they have not mandated a certain number of townhomes or apartments or things like that, so we do still have some autonomy. And in the 5 years that I've served on the council, I've heard a steady drumbeat from everything in your power to protect our suburban hometown feel. And so I've been the candidate who's been marching to that beat. Obviously, there's no such thing as affordable housing, we know that, but we can answer the call of the legislature, and at the same time answer that moral imperative of our time by prioritizing small, single-family housing. I am also glad that I cast a vote to allow ADUs, those tiny homes in people's backyards. That was a good move. 3 years ago, I said I was willing to consider some townhomes as part of our well-rounded solution. But I've been uncomfortable with the large acreages and the higher densities. I differ from my opponent in that I was opposed to allowing our townhome ordinance to go up to 12 units to the acre. I voted no on the original 35 acre townhome project out west because it was just too much. I argued against his call to allow developers to eliminate sidewalks. Going forward, we need to change our ordinance to include incentives for developers. We need to tie those incentives, density, to affordability if we're gonna do any density. We need to create a small single-family zone that can operate free from a townhome zone. To add to our code, that's something that I've been pushing for 1.5 years and has yet to be done. The next mayor and council will approve the general plan, which is a vision for our next 10 years. It's vital that the plan end up reflecting the will of the people. That was one of the pitfalls of the townhome project out west. It wasn't compliant with the general plan. So let me people.
Thank you. Our next question is a 1-minute response, and in response to feedback from the audience, I am going to add just a little bit more to this. The proposed Trail Point housing development on the city's west side has generated strong feelings among residents. How do you view the revised proposal? And what will you do to create unity among the council and community? And we'll start with Adam.
Yeah, so I want to say first that the revised proposal is a step in the right direction, and I'm grateful for the work that was done to modify it. I also want to mention though that had the public not gotten involved and had we not raised some serious concerns about the development, it never would have been revisited. So I think for anyone else to take credit on the current council for that decision is a little disingenuous, because had it not been for 4,000 signatures and unfortunately a lawsuit, it never would have been revisited. But I think it's a step in the right direction, but it's the third development approved in a single year, all of which way outpace the requirements from the state. So I think that we have added to our population too much too soon.
Did you want to speak to the unity?
Oh, sure. So I'm generally a nice guy. Facebook is not the place for a nice guy. It's easy to get pulled into divisions there. And my commitment is to use social media to inform and educate and not to debate.
Thank you. Zachary?
Yes, ma'am. The Trouble Point development has been a big topic in our community, as you guys know. It affects the west side traffic, schools, and the overall feel of our city. What we saw last night with the city council's unanimous approval of the revised plan is a good example of what can happen when residents stay involved and when the city developers and public work together in good faith. The project originally called for 341 units, but after some input and dialogue, it's reduced to 265. Is the project perfect? No. And most residents have said the same thing. It's not ideal, but it's much better. I think that attitude reflects the kind of balance that we need with our local government, protecting neighborhood character while still being realistic about the growth and property rights. Going forward, I think Trail Point can serve as a reminder of the importance of transparency, communication, and collaboration between the city residents, developers from the very start. I'm not against growth, I'm for smart growth. With the turnover or with the unity of the council that
Finish that one.
we have a bunch of turnover that's gonna happen. So everybody is gonna go through that same thing, as far as starting out. And so I think that the unity will be there from the beginning. And then just work, I mean, we're all adults, right? We don't have to agree, we have to work together.
Thank you. Chris?
Awesome, so yeah, I think what the revised proposal is a good step in the right direction, just like was said before. This what I think that actually having the builder come in and start talking with people and start, finding out what's going on. That's what they already knew, that they're stepping into a mess. They understood that there was the referendum, that there's lawsuits and all sorts of things. But I think that they understood that they need to listen to residents. As far as the trail point itself, I still have some concerns, such as we have, deed restrictions that you have to live in those homes for 12 months, but what happens after that will be open to investors and people trying to rent things out. But as far as unity, when it comes to that, I thrive on that. That's one of the things that I like to do is I like to get out in the community, talk with people, so that way we can come to a consensus.
Brandon?
Well, I'm very proud of the revised proposal. Almost 40 years ago, I started the process to make sure that this land would actually be annexed into Clinton. I felt it be in our best interest that Clinton decides how to plan for and utilize the land going west to 4,500 rather than another city or county. As your mayor, I admit, we're not perfect. We might not get everything right exactly the first time, but as a leader, I'm not afraid to come back a second or a third time to make things better. I listened to the feedback, and I was able to bring Nielsen Homes to the table. There's been a ton of collaboration between them, the public, staff, the city council, and it all culminated last night. I'm very happy to announce that the planning commission and the city council both were unanimous in their approvals. Great job, team. I know it's been a long and tiring process. I'd also like to thank Nielsen Homes for choosing to work with us and make dozens of changes to approve the original proposal. I'm also proud of the council for working through their differences and trying to stay civil, even though there is sometimes disagreements.
Thank you. Marie?
I voted, this is Marky.
No. Just a second, I'm gonna reset it.
If anyone has something they'd like to perform, now's the time.
So I know it's all you, so
That's more to
No. Still nothing.
Oh, no.
There's all of this.
Oh, no.
Not working. The light's on. Yeah, there's some of that.
Test, what's working?
But I wasn't having to eat it before.
But that's what I'm saying, we're
But
close.
now you just put your mouth on it. Oh, no. Whoa, can you guys hear it? I guess I could just yell.
Can we pass the hand mic?
Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
The type of system, do it, even on the computer. Here's from Boston, and
Oh. Excellent time to do that,
of course it is.
Yeah.
All we can do is.
So for the recording, Derek, should I just repeat that so president or listening or flash later can do it?
Or it'll work.
I heard you through this speaker. It was fuzzy like it is now, but
Some of the mics are breaking up. It's a mixer, not an amp.
Okay, you ready? Start my real thing. Okay. All right, I voted yes on the revised version last night. I'm grateful to the original developer who is the one who got the ball rolling with Nilsson Homes. The current mayor and I worked together with Nilsson Homes to make improvements, and that is a positive. We high-fived last night. But I was the one who listened to the public from the beginning. I believe we should have a mayor who sees Clinton through the same lens that the majority of Clinton residents see it. I knew that acreage was too much, too dense. I knew it didn't feel like Clinton. I made every argument in the book to try to persuade my colleagues, including my opponents, to reduce the number of townhomes. And it took 4,000 people and endless exhaustion to make a difference. These kinds of petitions don't just happen. They're a symptom of a deeper problem. One that I aim to correct and one that I think will increase the unity in our community, and that is to change our processes. The public needs a stronger voice. No more last minute overhauls, no more ram running. It's the process.
Thank you.
These were good.
I think these are working.
Gonna try? Okay.
Genevieve?
That's good.
As a member of the planning commission, Jennifer has reviewed both proposals in great detail. She did not support the original Trail Point proposal from Foothill Ditch and Terraform Development because she thought its density was too high and it was not aesthetically pleasing. However, the city council voted to enter into the development agreement. When Nilsson Homes came before the planning commission with a proposal to repeal the original Trail Point development agreement, Jennifer voted in favor of recommending this option to the city council. The Nilsson Homes development is still a concept plan, but the proposal involves a substantial reduction in the number of proposed townhomes. Furthermore, the neighborhood layout has been revised to make it look less like a barracks and more like a community. Jennifer appreciates the efforts made by Nilsson Homes to implement the community feedback into its concept plan. And Jennifer wanted me to add that she is a bridge builder and is built on improving communication as part of her platform, working with the city council.
Thank you. Adam?
I already answered.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
Get an extra minute.
Yeah, I know, that's okay. Okay, so then the next question is a 1-minute response. Is Clinton finding the right balance among the needs of various interested parties such as homeowners, renters, farmers, small and large businesses? What strategies would you support to strengthen our local economy and ensure businesses of all sizes feel supported by the city? And we'll start with Zachary.
Thank you. Clinton's done a good job trying to balance the needs of homeowners, renters, farmers, and businesses, but there's always room to improve. Growth brings new opportunities, but it also brings challenges that require communication and collaboration. I believe the key is maintaining the balance through smart planning and strong relationships. We need to support our local small businesses, that the ones that give Clinton its identity, while also being open, responsible commercial developments that expands our tax base and creates good local high-paying jobs. For our farmers and long-term property owners, we should continue to respect the property rights and make sure growth happens in a way that fits our city's plan, not just market pressure. Ultimately, I support strategies that make Clinton business friendly, streamlining permitting, encouraging local spending, and make sure our infrastructure keeps up. When our businesses thrive, our residents benefit, and our community stays strong.
Thank you. Chris?
Awesome. So I think that one of the key areas and groups that I feel don't seem to have a voice are the people that are small business owners. So in Clinton, I know several people that own their own business, and that's what there are people who say, I would rather open up my business in other cities because they actually have clear guidelines. In Clinton, we had one business owner that they were attempting to redo their parking lot. And while they were doing it, they went to the city just to make sure that they had enough parking stalls and everything that is required. When they talked to the city, they were told, yes, they had everything that they need to, so they spent the money, did everything, only for the city to come back and fine them because they hadn't done everything according to one other person. So again, I think that having clear rules and ordinances and policies in place would be beneficial to those small business owners, so they don't have to spend the money to have to redo everything.
Thank you. Brandon?
Balance, the holy grail in life. Unfortunately, it's hard to find in our personal lives, but luckily with the city, I think we've done an excellent job balancing all these parties that were mentioned. One, I believe in property rights. Farmers should farm as long as they want to, but when it's their decision and they want to grow homes, it's their land. Businesses also have a right to open in Clinton, even if that means another dreaded car wash or another fast food restaurant. I believe that as a city, we also need to love and welcome our neighbors. Just because someone lives in a townhome or a rental doesn't make them any lesser of a citizen. Everyone deserves to be treated nicely, regardless of how big their house or how much acreage they have. As a strategist, I'm a relationship builder and have helped bring us unprecedented economic development to our city. Home Depot, Fat Cats, Tractor Supply. I visited and promoted every food spot in town, and I made sure to protect our commercial corridors so we don't end up with small strip malls or mixed-use buildings. It'd be nice to have an economic development person, but the staff would add another $150K for salary and benefits. That equates to another 4% tax increase. Who's ready for another?
Thank you. Marie?
So residents regularly tell me how much the farmland means to them. At the same time, they love the convenience of the businesses. And they place high value on home ownership, but they also appreciate the opportunity for our Hill Air Force Base friends to rent while living in Clinton. So Clinton is truly a place where variety and balance should win. The most important strategy is to run careful processes that bring all those stakeholders to the table early on. I spent years working with the chambers of commerce to boost business, and I want to improve communication with current businesses to keep them in the loop. Sometime or something like a quarterly email directly to businesses would go a long way for them. Some of our smaller businesses have especially struggled with the construction in Clinton, and we need to hear from them. We usually don't pick and choose the exact businesses that come to Clinton, but we need a formal strategic economic development plan. We don't have one. And that would be important to me to get one, so we can proactively market Clinton to the types of businesses that residents want.
Thank you. Jen B?
Jennifer grew up in West Point and remembers riding her bike through Clinton City when there were open fields and quiet streets. Now our city is much bigger and busier, and there aren't many farms left. While Jennifer feels nostalgic about our small town days, she recognizes that our community has changed. Jennifer supports continued development of a robust commercial zone that strengthens our local economy. We need at least one more large retailer. Our residents would love more dining and entertainment options. As a city council member, Jennifer would communicate with business owners to address their concerns about support from the city. Although she is upset when large corporations buy homes as rentals and failing to maintain them, Jennifer is a renter and is grateful to live in Clinton. Our city should be welcoming to those who want to live and do business here.
Thank you. Adam?
Well, I want to echo what Marie said about an economic development plan. Without a plan, all the decisions we make aren't moving us in any specific direction. As many new businesses as have opened in the last 4 years, how many have closed? We still see too much turnover in our commercial spaces. And I think that we can do more in terms of our commercial zoning requirements to restrict the number of light businesses that we allow to be licensed in our city. I don't believe it should be a free-for-all. It's not fair to our current business owners to allow competitor after competitor into their space. And I think the uncertainty about the future of our city has caused some of our small business and medium and probably just medium-sized business owners to be concerned about how well they'll do in our city. So I think we have room for more light industrial opportunities where that we can bring jobs to the community that don't affect our population growth too much. And as far as farming goes, farmers have a right to sell their property, but they have a right to sell it and have it zoned in a way that the community approves of.
Thank you. Our next question is another 1-minute response. Residents want their voices heard on city decisions, especially zoning and taxes. What is your plan to ensure that Clinton residents feel represented in the choice of the council? I'll start with Chris.
Perfect. Communicate. That is the biggest key, I think, to residents. That's what, just like when you first get married and people give you, like tips and everything of your marriage. One of the big things that they say is communicate, communicate, communicate. One of the things that Clinton has been improving on is how they communicate, but it is only disseminating information. There should be actually proactive response to those inquiries. We should be able to go out and talk with people, get their feedback, be able to present that at city council meetings, even though people may not show up. They still have a voice. We still need to listen to those people, and we still need to give them a platform to do that. So part of my communication is just figuring out and just expanding as many channels as possible, but also asking questions to get people to talk. I've done that during my campaign of getting people to talk on the issues, as well as being able to get more and more people engaged with what's happening at the city level.
Thank you. Brendan?
But we don't know as your mayor, I don't even vote on zoning and taxes. All I can do is give good advice and recommendations. It's the sole responsibility of the council to make those decisions. But the one thing I do is I share the feedback that I get from all of you with the council and with our city staff. I welcome everyone's voice. I've always had an open door policy. It's been great to meet with residents that some are even in this room at City Hall. I'm welcome for people to call me, text me, DM me. All my information's out there for you guys to reach out. I love talking about the city. I've been a champion for transparency and done my best to make sure citizens are aware of what's happening. Because of that, there's been more citizen engagement this past 4 years than ever before. I can't promise the council will always vote the way you want, but I can promise you I'm always willing to listen.
Thank you. Marie?
Healthy processes empower the people. I would give the public more time and early access to documents. Here's some examples. When we got a major ordinance change this year for term limits with only 4 days notice, I advocated tabling it to give more time to discuss with the public. Instead, the item was rammed through on a 3-2 vote, and now the League of Cities is advising that term limits are likely illegal under state statute. When the new chicken ordinance needed an hour of editing during the meeting, I advocated tabling it so staff could update all the new wording so the public could see it and we could know what we were voting on, but we voted anyway. The mayor drives those processes and I will make them more careful. I would build a strategic communications plan. We don't have one. I would like to go beyond the minimum communication required by state law. Nobody's driving by a field to read the little signs. I will keep listening and learning and responding.
Thank you. Genevieve?
Jennifer is a communicator. With 20 years of experience in journalism, she is adept at gathering and sharing information. She is also skilled in networking, both face-to-face and using technology. Jennifer doesn't spin her stories. As a member of City Council, she plans to maintain open, authentic, and transparent communication. She will help Clinton residents feel informed and represented through social media, email, and direct communication with members of the community. Jennifer will encourage public participation in public hearings and will seek feedback from city residents before important decisions are made. She will welcome conversations through phone, text, email, and Facebook to stay connected with voters and invite community involvement.
Thank you. Adam?
I believe up until now, the city has taken a fishing approach to involving the public. We'll tell you where to go to get information, but we're not gonna go out of our way to give it to you. You just have to come and find it. You have our phone number, you have our email, but all the onus is on you. I believe we can do more to bring the actions of the city council to the people. We should have public forums outside of the city council meeting. We should have public forums in other parts of the city on different nights, different days of the week. The same people aren't gonna be able to make the same time for the meeting every time. So we need to do more to spread out our approach on how we interact with the community. I tried to do this early on this year by giving a council meeting recap after each council meeting I attended. That was very well received. In fact, now the city has decided to do that on their own. So that's a good example of the way that I feel like we need to bring more of the council's actions to the public rather than relying on them to navigate a very difficult website to find the information on their own.
Thank you. Zachary?
Thank you. I believe residents deserve to have their voice heard on every important decision, especially when it involves zoning, taxes, and development. My approach is simple: communication, transparency, and accessibility. I plan to make sure residents have multiple ways to engage from public meetings like was brought up. We have more ways to communicate now, and it's still the number one problem is communication. And sometimes coming to something like this is pretty intimidating. I would like to make it easier so we can have burgers, hot dogs, and we can do an open forum. Let's talk. Let's you know what I mean? See us. We see you. Because we have all sorts of ways to communicate online, but not everybody wants to communicate online. So that's it. Let me check one other thing. Yeah, and I'm just here to listen. I'm here to listen and be the voice of everyone here.
Thank you. Okay, this is our final question. You now have 1 minute to clarify any point you would still like to make, to answer the question we should have asked but didn't, and to tell us why should we vote for you. And we'll start with Brandon.
Thank you again for coming tonight. Although we may not agree on every issue, we do share the same values. We love our families, we want safe neighborhoods, and we desire to protect what makes Clinton great. I don't believe Clinton's broken. We've accomplished tons these past 4 years. It is an amazing city and a great place to live. If you only remember one thing from tonight, please remember, I'm a proven leader, collaborator, and relationship builder. We're stronger together, so let's keep delivering wins for Clinton. Please vote Stanger for mayor.
Thank you. Marie?
I love people. I believe in we the people. I love listening to the people of Clinton as they tell me of their challenges and their experiences, the things that make them feel the way they feel and think the way they do. And I love our staff. They are loyal and hardworking, and I want them to feel valued. I want them to know that I listen to them and I care about their expertise. I believe in robust discussions and open expression, and I believe in civility. As mayor, I would gavel down any personal attacks because they have no place on the council. People are the foundation of everything we do. As mayor, I would put people first. And I guess if all else fails, I'm a true Aggie. Thank you. Vote Marie Doherty for me.
Thank you. Genevieve?
Well, I'm gonna just take a minute to talk about Jennifer because I get to do my own thing right now. She didn't write this one down. There are 3 things that come to mind when I think about Jennifer, and I've known her for many years. She's been a neighbor and I've worked with her on the planning commission. The 3 things that come to mind are her honesty, her practical problem solving, and just how authentic and real she is. She's one of the most honest humans I've ever met. I can talk with her about anything and she will tell me the truth. She's a fantastic person that way. She's a problem solver. She's fantastic when we are in the commission meetings because she asks the questions that other people are not thinking of. And she takes the time to research and go through every little step before we make any decisions. And she is so authentic and real. And she would be the person that I would call if I had somebody or problems that I needed to have solved. She's the person I would pick up the phone and call to. So vote for Jennifer.
Thank you. Adam?
Thank you for coming. All of my involvement with the community over the last year has been in response to petition from others in the community who have asked for help. That's what I like to do. In fact, I probably should say no more often, but I like to help people. I like to make people happy. And I know that as a city councilor, that's not always possible to make everyone happy. In fact, it rarely is. But I believe that with information, the public can get on board with any decisions we have to make, even if it's against what they would prefer. I love this city. This is not for me. My life would probably be a lot easier if I were not involved in this campaign or running for city council, but it's something that I feel like I want to do to give back to a community that I love. Vote for Larson.
Thank you. Zachary?
Yes, ma'am. I want to take just a second. I want to thank the League of Women Voters of Davis County for hosting this and having this. Thank you. I want to thank everybody who is here. Thank you for your dedication and wanting to know more. Thank you for everybody who's online. Thank you to everybody who will watch later online. Thank you. I want to thank all of the individuals who I've been able to talk with and connect with. I've made a lot of friends in doing this, and so thank you for that portion of it. And then lastly, I want to thank everybody up here. It takes a lot to put yourself out there. It is not easy. So thank you guys for doing that. Let's say Clinton City to me is not a place to live, but it's a community where we can grow and thrive. My experience as a firefighter and paramedic taught me to stay calm under pressure, make tough decisions, and put people first. Running a local business has given me insight into the needs of families and small businesses alike. I understand the importance of listening, being transparent, and making thoughtful, balanced decisions. Please vote for me. The last thing I want to say, I know I'm down with time, sorry. Clinton City needs an identity. Our mail goes to Clearfield. We ship our kids off to 3 different high schools, multiple junior highs, multiple elementary schools. Clinton can get lost in the mix. We need an identity. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris?
That's what, when I was out talking with people, that's what somebody did ask me. They said, are you going to be one of those council members that says, if you don't like what we say, you can move out of the city? And I'm not one of those guys. I'm somebody that truly enjoys the unity. And I think that divisiveness and things will happen, but that we just need to come back together. We actually need to talk with each other, communicate, and be able to hash out those things. We may not agree on every little thing, but I think we agree with more things than we give ourselves credit for. And I think that if we actually talk and, have those barbecues out front and do those type of things, I think those are the best things that we can do. And that's why I'm one of the best candidates on here.
Thank you. Let's have a round of applause for our candidate. Thank you again to all of the candidates for running for office, to the city for hosting this event, and to all of you for participating in the political process. For a recording of tonight's meeting, you can go to Clinton's YouTube channel. It will also be available on the vote411.org website after October 14th. The League's next Meet the Candidate event will be on Thursday in the city of Bountiful. Thank you and have a good night.